All right, here we go. Welcome back to another Monday night with SirLucien, SirLucien Gaming Channel. We're playing Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition, and we're in the Seeking Revonar campaign, which is a West Marches style campaign. If you missed anything, you can go ahead and check the VODs out on Twitch, or you can go and check YouTube to see all the different videos. I'm one behind, so sometime in the next day or so, I will put up last week's, and then a couple days after that, I will put up tonight's so that you can get caught up on YouTube if you want to do that. I encourage it if you feel like you've missed anything that we're going over. We're going to jump right in. Our players at the end of last night, the last session, we doled out the XP, which was enough for them to level their characters up. They made a quick, hasty retreat back to their keep. And that's where we will pick up tonight's session as you kind of come through the forested area. You hit a clearing and you can hear the ring of hammers and saws and axes hitting wood as you come into sight of the large construction that's still going on at your keep. And you walk across a big open field that's probably 2 or 3 football fields long. You see waves coming from those that are up on the walls as lookouts, and everything seems to be as you have left it. Definitely lots of work has been going on as you are let into the gates, and you are now back in the keep. I affectionately call it the Old Monastery, though you guys will probably rename it at some point to something else. I don't know if you guys did or not.
It's the Abbey of St. Timore.
Right. All right, so back at the Abbey at this point, the Abbey of St. Timore. Also Tom, who plays Tristan, is out for tonight and possibly next week. I'll confirm that again with him. By the time we play next week, we might have bring a guest in or something. So tonight, Tom will be out, and it'll be assumed that Tom gets his gear fixed, refurbished, takes a few days break, and everybody will have a little bit of downtime here. So the key will be, since everybody leveled up, we kind of need a span of time where all these new things that you can do somehow you're able to do. So I think what we will do first off is definitely have at least a week or two weeks of training montage that allows a narrative reason for why you guys all of a sudden can do some of the new cool things that you can do. So we'll do that. And I believe also we're going to have the first night you guys are back, there's also a dinner that'll be held with all of you and your new guests. And you'll be able to catch up with those that are kind of in charge of the Abbey while you are gone. They will bring you up to speed on the recent events while you are gone, and we'll do that. So I think what I want to start out with tonight is a little bit of an RP. I think on the way back, there's a point where you guys have to make at least 2 or 3 camps before you get back. So there's a couple of nights where you're camping, several people are on watch. All of that goes fine. You're able to avoid anything that's out there. You don't seem to be being followed. Nothing is on your trail. You've looped back a couple of times just to check, and you're not being tracked down. It seems like whatever the amount of damage you have done to the forces of the Black Pyramid, they have not since tried to venture out and tried to follow you or capture you or do anything like that. So you feel pretty good about that. I would say probably about the 3rd camp, just before you're about to get back to the Abbey, there's probably a watch where we have Mistletoe is probably on watch, and I think Vormar would volunteer to sit up during Mistletoe's watch also, because during the prison escape and during probably these couple of days of travel, Mistletoe I assume, has been still trying to work on talking with Vormar, which you were the one that was trying to make the effort to learn Vormar's language, right?
Yeah, he saved my ass really early on, and so I want to find some way to communicate with him. So I've been doing my best to at least get a rudimentary grasp of his language.
Yeah, so and I think by the third night that you're starting to kind of get a good his language isn't that far off for you to be able to pick up. Now, what languages do you already speak?
Abyssal, Celestial, Common, and Infernal.
All right. Yeah, so it's a
But
lot of
I
old
do,
languages. There are a lot of
yeah, I
languages
do have
from. Oh, go ahead.
I have the anthropologist background, so I have like that kind of dabbling in like the foundations of language.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that's nice about this, I think that would be a little bit different too, is the language that Vormir speaks is more in common with old dead languages than they are of the languages that you're used to hearing from dwarves, elves, orcs, goblins, all these other creatures that are around now. Whereas things like Abyssal have been around for who knows how long, could be millennial at this point. Celestial speak a very old language, and this creature seems to speak an old language that's very similar. So it's not taken too long for you to pick up on some things. There'll still be probably lots of misinterpretations for quite a while, but you've got a handle on it probably better than anybody else. And during that watch, he kind of recounts a story of how he got to the Black Pyramid to you. You have kind of figured out by drawing out a letter system. They have their own lettering system, and you've matched it with what you know of your several different lettering systems that you know, and you can tell that he's from something that's called the Den of Rum, and you don't have a good way to pronounce it because it sounds like the way he pronounced it. It almost comes out like a bear growl, and it's like some type of throat sound that this creature can make, and probably all the creatures that are very similar to them, where you just don't have that capacity to make the same sound. And so, but you would spell it out as HRUMH, rum, and it's just, think of it as more of a guttural kind of roar.
Kind of like a deep like rolling in the throat.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like you. What is it, the Mongol throat singing kind of stuff, or the stuff where they're making really strange noises out of the throat area versus the types of sounds we make. You learn from him, and you slowly get through this conversation quietly while you're on watch, that he is definitely many suns to the west of where the pyramid was. And they have the name for the mountains that he crossed. They call it the world's end because to them they thought that's where the world ended. They didn't think it went any further. They thought it was just those mountains and
And he's from
nothing
the other
else.
side of those.
And he's from the other side. You guys are currently on this side, and he's surprised that there's lands here, when everybody had thought that that's the world's end, as far as the civilization that he's from. He was in a hunting party that was in those mountains, and they were set upon by a black dragon. So he describes a black dragon that roams the mountains to the west. They tried to fight. They ran. They hid. The dragon tracked them down, almost like playing with them. It seemed like they could never get away from them, killing each of them one at a time, taking them after a days of hunting or just messing with them. And the way he recounts the story, you're not getting every word, but you're definitely getting an emotional impact of somebody who the hunt was meant to torture them more than it was anything else, but yet each of the other people in the hunting group were taken one at a time, and he had never seen them again. He had made it across the mountains and stumbled into a Norker and Knoll hunting party and was captured immediately. Having ran for so long, trying to hide from the dragon, was, unable to fight his way out of that. And he even would have tried to fight to the death, though really didn't have the strength to try to put up much of a fight. And you could tell as he recounts the story, the two things he's ashamed of is the fear he felt being hunted by the dragon systematically, and then the shame of being captured by creatures he feels he should have been able to tear apart. And towards the end of that conversation, and you're figuring words out and you're trying to figure out different meanings, he kind of looks at the group that's sleeping behind you, and kind of looks to you and says, do you think they will accept me in this land, or should I leave? Will I be harried again, or will I be captured or made prisoner once again where we go?
Well, I feel fear all the time, but if it helps, I think the only reason I'm alive and they're alive is, well, not to put it too coarsely, but you're one scary son of a bitch, and you did a whole lot of violence out there that helped. And I think while people don't like those of us who are, well, very different, I'm going to kind of gesture to the demonic features peeking out through the very human garb that I have wrapped around it. I found that if you make yourself useful, and if you tend to stick to people who are kind of either important or scary in these people's case, they tend to leave you alone because they just assume that you're kind of part of them. So I'll plan on sticking around to somebody scary until I find somebody important who's not going to get me killed. But I mean, I think we all owe you a debt, and I don't think we would have gotten out of there without you.
You see him nod, and he kind of looks at each of the sleeping figures, and he looks at you, and he does kind of have like you're starting to realize when his brow furrows and he's maybe thinking hard, or he's trying to word something in a certain way. You're starting to learn the facial features probably more than anybody else. I think everybody else for a long time will only see the bare face and not the nuances, but you've been sitting with them, talking with them, interacting with them enough that you're picking up a lot of the facial nuances. And one of the things is he's kind of got this questioning look of like something doesn't seem quite right. He says, but whose land are we in? Each of you are different. None of you are the same. Is that how this land is? Nobody is the same? Where are all your people?
You come from a land of tribes, right?
Bear folk. Yeah. He has a word that you probably in your language would call it bear folk. They would have a word that's their own word, but you just equate it to bear folk.
Here, tribes are less about blood; they're more about choice. People make tribes based on power. They make them on their needs, their desires, and their goals. Anyone can be a tribe here.
And he still seems confused, and he's like, well, is it your people that are in control, or is it the short ones people that are in control, or the green skin? Is his people in control?
I honestly have no idea. I got here like a week before I got captured. But I mean, they seem like they believe they have someplace safe they're going to. And in a place like this, that belief has to be rooted in something. There's a lot of danger out here.
Yeah, so he kind of gives you a nod, and he kind of says at the end of that, then he's like, then I will stick with Mrishrotro. He puts a lot of R's in your name for some reason. You're not sure why.
I'm super down with it.
And then we'll have the night go on as our two newest members of the two NPCs, two are player and NPC coming from the jailhouse being introduced. We kind of will fade off into the next day. So we get back to everybody kind of appears, and the last day goes by. It's a trek through the forest. And again, go ahead.
Before we get there, as we start to get closer, I would like to get the sending stone that I had before and try to see if that works.
So yeah, go ahead. What do you do?
I pull it out like I had been, instructed to do, And as I know that we're like a day or two away from Port Bastion, I awaken the stone and try to communicate with, I forget what his new name is. I know his old name.
Yeah. So what's the message you say? And his name, remember, is Belshazzar.
Belshazzar. Okay.
Luke.
I'm just simply going to call his name and see if there's a reply. I just want to know if it works, more or less.
I would say you do not get a reply.
All right. The only other thing I'll say is just we've escaped the Black Pyramid once more, and we are coming.
Yeah. You don't seem to get a reply, so you're not sure if that was received or not.
Okay,
all right.
that's all.
Cool. So you see the gates open. You guys are ushered in. You can see a group of the soldiers training in the courtyard. As you walk in, you see plenty of laborers and workers working on various parts of the keep. On the doorstep is Lady Megara, which is your seneschal, or your the person in charge of the household as you were gone. And it looks like she has some treats and refreshments ready for you as you walk up, and mentions that your accommodations are clean and prepared, and we are currently drawing water if that's what you desire. She looks at you and tries to not wrinkle her nose at the smell of the several days of long-running battle and prison and fighting and blood and gore and everything else that's on you guys. And you are ushered in. At that point, Lady Megara also looks to Vormar, Teldrol the dwarf, Kiana the elf, who is the wrapped body of Tim. And are we missing anybody? Oh, and Mistletoe. And kind of has an arched eyebrow as she sees them and asks, will we be having guests?
Yes. They're to stay here. They've been through quite an ordeal. And I would suggest before we bathe, we have something to attend to. As he looks over to the body of Tim, the whole way there, it was largely apparent that how troubled she is over her companion's death, and the rough treatment his body has been given on the travels and stuff. So
so Lady Megara kind of bows and says it will be so, and you can hear her kind of yell out to one of the other you recognize them as some of the cleaning staff and the other household staff that she runs, and she starts giving orders to have certain rooms made ready. While you're standing there, Wayfinder Rieger comes up, which is your captain of your Elven Rangers, and he embraces Kiana, and it's clear right away that they know each other. And they begin to speak in Sylvan, but it's definitely got a very heavy accent, different than, if any of you do speak Sylvan, than the Sylvan you're used to. It's close, but it's definitely got some differences to it. And you could tell that they know each other, that Kiana is one of the Elven Rangers that normally is out and a ranger for the city. And she seems very relieved that Rieger's here, didn't know that Rieger was here, and kind of begins to tell the story of how they were captured, and that all she wants to do is get Tim back to the city where he can be where he can be accepted by the tree once more. And Rieger is just like, absolutely. He's like already gathering up several rangers, and they are going to escort Kiana back to the city. So a few of the rangers are kind of prepping to go ahead and get ready. They have her going to get her rest for tonight. They will take care of the body as the way they do in their camp. And then they kind of, and Rieger mentions that once you are prepared, if you would like, I have a report for you if dinner would be fine. Other than that, we'll take Kiana and Tim and we will provide for them while we are here.
I'd take the report, but while they're talking, realizing they're going to have this travel ahead of them and stuff, I'm going to go ahead and make. I'm going to get up in the next morning and make sure that I cast some good berries to kind of fuel them for their journey, and say something to the effect of, listening to them speak in their tongue of Sylvan really kind of very much, calls to me, and just, not touch her, but I'm going to use my psionics just barely touch her hand to get her attention. And once he is returned to the eternal tree, he is no longer dead. And we both know that. And then just leave them to whatever they're going to do.
Yeah, she definitely would nod. And I think you can see the relief now that she knows that he will be returned. And it's definitely a custom that is strong within within this community of elves, the returning of the body to apparently a tree, and in the city of Uluwe Suari. And they always mention the name, and they on the Golden Plains. And the Golden Plains is a reference to the north of the Abbey, all the way heading towards that city, is this great flowing, the golden grains of wheat fields that just go for miles after miles after miles, and they move up and down like the waves of an ocean, but it's all golden wheat out there. All right, so that night, once you guys have had the opportunity to store your gear, those of you have been given a room. The guests have been given accommodations to go ahead and put their stuff in. There is a bathhouse that's been set up that allows for lots of people to bathe, all with big curtains around them, and heated water that's going. So all of you are able to clean as much as you wish, and you are told that their dinner will be ready at 5, and she has set out for you and your guests. And also she mentions that Wayfinder Rieger and Captain Dorn have requested to join you for dinner, so that they may apprise you of what's gone on while you have been gone.
Kurt nod.
All right, so everybody goes and does that. So then we'll just, anybody want to do anything before the dinner bell? Anything pressing?
Not for me.
Nope.
I'm taking a bath.
Yeah. The dirt just cakes off you.
My bath.
I smell fine.
Yeah. I would imagine, Eingar, any weapons to drop off at the blacksmith that need repairing? He kind of sees you when you come in.
Yes, I believe my battle axe that was borrowed.
I give you
I
back
wasn't
that
the one to
battle
break
axe.
it this time.
All right.
While I'm there, I'll talk to him about getting some half plate.
Yeah, that's when he mentions that although he could probably make repairs, he wouldn't be able to create it. But he definitely tells you there's a dwarf blacksmith in Port Bastion that worked for the Dankills that would easily be able to make something like that if you were to order it from them.
I can make that trip. I have to visit my ranger teacher anyways.
Yeah, cool. All right, so dinner-wise, 5 o'clock rolls around and we see each of the the members kind of stroll in at their leisurely time. There is a big long table that's been set up in a feasting hall. You guys would recognize this as what was the old smallish temple room has been converted into an eating hall and a main hall for receiving guests and such. Seated already is Captain Dorn and Wayfinder Rieger, who are sitting next to each other more in the middle of the table. And Lady Megara is sitting at one of the heads of the table. And typically Tristan sits at one of the other heads of the table. And then each of you take your seats around as you go, guests included. Set out along this big table is all kinds of food. It's clear that Lady Megara has wanted to make sure that this first meal back since you've come back is quite gregarious and shows lots of cooked meats and big vegetables, and there's even some seafood. You're not sure where they got some of that. Maybe came in with some of the trade from Port Bastion, and all of this is laid out, and there's lots of different little delicacies and things set out for each person to enjoy. As you sit, there's the polite introductions with each person finding out, being introduced to, say, like Mistletoe and Vormar and Teldril. Kiana is there, and then you learn that Captain Dorn is a human who wears kind of like a plate mail, very similar to the symbols and the clothing that Tristan wears. So right away, Mistletoe, you recognize Captain Dorn as the leader of the soldiers that are stationed here, that are kind of like a religious unit that's here under the command of Tristan from his church. So you can tell that they all wear the same symbols. And then Wayfinder Rieger is an elf that is from the city you've heard of from the north, though you've not met any of these elves from this land. And you do recognize these elves do not look like Sword Coast elves. There's some differences there that set them apart. So it's definitely a different genetic branch of the elven group. And he commands the Wayfinders, who are a group of scouts that keep the local area and help with the trade route being set up. So you have Wayfinder Rieger and Captain Dorn. And Lady Megara, human woman dressed as a lady. You see most of the people refer to her as Lady Megara, dressed in noble woman's clothing, and seems to be pretty stern, probably mid-40s, mid-50s. Obviously runs a tight ship, seems very good at what she does, being able to run a household such as this. Very noble born, noble blood. So as chit chat kind of goes, the introductions are over. Captain Dorn kind of speaks up, and he's mostly looking at Tristan as he speaks, but he does, make eye contact with Eingar and Alberix and Rock, the normal group, as he's saying. So they've been running patrols. The roads have been kept clear. None of the patrols have been set upon. Our soldiers are doing a fine job, but I feel they're restless with nothing going on currently. And as he's looking to Tristan and probably, Alberix and Eingar at this point, he says, I think they're getting a little restless. We've had no real action of any sort. We've had nothing that we've had to deal with. We've had several trade routes leave Port Bastion and arrive successfully in the Elven City. And we've had a few of the Elven caravans come through with no problem either. The roads seem to be fairly clear. What I want to do is to shake off a little of this restlessness. I want to take them out on a training exercise. We'll keep the patrols running, but I want to take them into the field, have them force march, set up camp, deploy as if we're ready to attack, do some maneuvers and drills. Probably it'll take about 5 to 6 days, and then head back to definitely get some of our troops, acclimated to the area, and to get this, hanging out in the keep, make sure that they realize they're still hard fighting soldiers. And he kind of looks to Tristan for approval at this point, and I don't see any reason why Tristan wouldn't approve unless one of you speak up.
No, that seems well within what he want.
Yeah. And he kind of gives the nod, and he says, everything seems in order. I will give you my plans. We will put it out on the map so you know exactly where we're going and what we're doing. And we'll be back. We'll set it up for in the next couple of days before we leave. We'll get everybody's gear prepped. We'll go. We'll be gone for 5 to 6 days. We'll be back. We'll still run a rotation of patrols up and down. So he runs a north patrol and he runs a south patrol that makes sure the roads are clear and checks in with any of the caravans that happen to be going through. And then after that, he kind of sits down and has nothing really further to report at this point. Wayfinder Rieger, recognizing that Dorn is done, kind of also kind of speaks up at that point and says, though we've not really found any, well, he starts off with, we've swept the area around the keep within several miles, and we've found no creature larger than stags or deer to worry about. Nothing approaches the keep without us knowing, and we have a constant patrol out, making sure that we know if anything's coming from the west and the north, and we have other patrols that kind of will it's almost like every other day they will check the south route and they will check the east route towards the ocean and the mountain range, but they focus their every single day patrols to the west and the north, where it's a lot more possibility of being unknown what's going on. What they have been getting from some of the wayfinders from Ulue is that Surigalo is on the hunt, and you guys know that as the name of the blue dragon that resides in the northern mountains to the north of you. Does not seem like she shows interest in the caravans thus far. We keep an eye on her hunting grounds as she is out, and we get word back that once she has taken flight and as she is on the hunt, that we get the caravans undercover, hidden, until she has done and has returned to her mountain range area. They know that the specific spot she flies out of, and they keep an eye on that, and then the caravans can come out of hiding and continue on. Thus far, she has not stumbled upon them, though she is out there, and everything to the north gets the warning as they head north, and we're keeping an eye on anything there. He has had a couple of reports of something that has spooked the horses to the north. He sent a wayfinder group up. It seems like it's probably a day into the out into the plains, but is waiting on a report if anything comes back on that. There's a certain area where as the caravans come through, the horses get real skitterish, and they seem to show a lot of fear for a good 2-mile stretch, and then they calm back down and everything goes back to normal. But nobody's been able to see anything or understand why. But he's sending up a patrol to check that out, and he will report back on that. He mentions that he's sending a couple of the wayfinders back with Kiana, who's at the table there, and they will make haste back to Ulue to go ahead and let perform the ritual for Tim to be they have a ritual that he doesn't go into it as much because it sounds like it's something that's very private with the elves, but the part he does mention is there's a ceremony that needs to happen for any elf that has fallen to return to the tree, and this allows them to reach the next part of their existence. But he doesn't really go into details about about it too much and seems to keep it kind of private. Other than that, any questions or anything from you guys for Captain Dorn or Wayfinder Rigger?
Wayfinder Rager. To the shoot, you'll have to forgive me because I don't know my direction. I don't want to look at the map right now. A ways from here, there's a place that is very special, where the land has embraced, has taken hold and embraced the power that is growing here. Have you been there? Talking about my grove.
No, and he says several of we've been around it and we can feel its effect on the area around, but it seems to not let us approach. And he's like, and we certainly would not force the issue. So he kind of has like a vague idea of where it might be, but he's not been able. None of them get near it, and none of them have tried to actually breach it or get to it.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if that's something they're in tune with, or they feel, or whatever, because the new knowledge of them having this tree and this rebirth and stuff has really kind of piqued his interest. I intend to visit this place.
It seems like it reacts to the Wayfinders, and it's kept them out, kept them moving past it, moving around it, changing the game trails so that they never are quite finding where it's at.
Okay. All right. Pretty satisfied with that. We are very lucky to have so many people as skilled as yourselves.
And with that, Captain Dorn and Wayfinder Rieger, they finish one last drink. They kind of rise, and then they hold a toast to those that have returned, those that have fallen, and those that we may meet in the future. And everybody kind of is, if they're willing to, can raise their glasses. And at that, they kind of excuse themselves, and like, we have things to complete and do. We will be around if you need us. Just send a runner. As they both kind of take their leave and leave you at your table with your guests.
Pardon me, Wayfinder. I'm sorry if this is untoward. I know we have no established relationship. I also don't really know where we are in relation to anything. But my friend here, and I'm going to pat Vormar on the shoulder, in our travels mentioned that there is a cruel and somewhat selective black dragon in the mountains to the west of here. I have no idea if that is a day's journey or 6 months from here, but I figured I'd at least pass it on.
And he kind of nods and he says, you speak of Istendra, black dragon of the West Range. That's about a 4 or 5 day trek from here where you are at currently. Those mountains are long and deep. Our people were originally from west of those mountains, but also were chased and harried by that dragon. And you kind of notice that when he says the name, it's like as if it's a curse, Istendra, one of the 3 dragons that has destroyed the cities of the elves. And in fact, Ulue is the last city of the elves in these lands. And the 3 dragons are to blame for that. And he mentions our people know of the bear folk, and they have a different word for it. He uses like an elven word for it at that point. We know of their tribes, but it has been hundreds of years since we have been able to venture west. Anybody that tries to cross those mountains, Istendra seems to take offense and seems to hunt them down. We have not had any of our people able to make it back to the west. We are stuck here in these eastern lands.
I see you have it all in hand, then I'll go back to my salad.
Okay. So after that, another course of food is brought out for you guys to enjoy. And Lady Megara, she mentions that the household is tip-top shape. She mentions that it will be, she kind of says in a stern voice that it will be heaven once the construction is done. All the hammering and sawing that seems to go on from sun up to sundown. It'll be a welcome respite when they have finally finished the renovations. I wonder if they're dragging their feet, she says. And then she does mention that you have several petitioners that have been awaiting for my lords to sit in council. When shall I tell them that you will hear their pleas?
I'm gonna look to Anya and Rock and Tristan. Obviously, Tristan would be the one who would make the decision.
Yeah, I think at this time too, like maybe you've noticed Tristan is starting to look under the weather, and maybe he has on the way back caught some type of walking pneumonia, flu, cold, whatever the equivalent is at this point, where he looks like he's definitely kind of caught something and he's going to need rest.
Perhaps a council to stand before these petitioners is the thing.
Do we travel to Bastion in the morning?
I have business in Bastion, so I would be going if nobody
do I.
else does.
Perhaps we can see them before we leave.
I do not wish to go to Bastion. I wish I have somewhere I need to be. And when he says that, he's never made a secret to Rock or Anyar where his grove is. He's never hit it. He, as a matter of fact, the day that he went to go plant the seeds, he told them as much where he was going. So I wish to commune with this land. We should see these petitioners, though. Lucian, in the morning before they leave, I would. Albirix is going to be up. When the elves would leave, I would like to speak to him.
Okay. She says then, all right, I will arrange for them to be prepared in the morning, and we will have you receive them in the hall. And then she allows you to continue your dinner at this point. Dinner can be, is there anybody that needs anything else they want to do during the dinner? Opportunity for players to question other players, talk about plans, anything to discuss, or you guys just going to eat and then head out?
If Tristan can do the petitions in the morning, then Eingar and Rock will leave as soon as possible.
Tristan looks like he leaves halfway through the meal and doesn't look like he would be available at all. He looks like he's sick.
We're doing the petitions. We're going to count on Rock's solid judgment.
He gives you the look, the exact look in his picture. Fine.
This will take some full mugs to go through.
I guarantee he's going to sit in that chair with his axe on his knees, though.
Of course. So as dinner wanes down, Albirix will pull the wine decanter up, and as it floats to its own accord, and refill Mistletoe's cup and sets it down. He looks at her. Even though we've been together for these past few days, we haven't really spoken. Looks at her with these yellow eyes that are starting to bright after the bath. They seem a bit sharper than they were. And what of you? What will you do?
Well, I was about to ask the same thing. My friend here and I have been conversing, and we've both come to the conclusion that this is a very dangerous place that neither one of us really intended to be. That being said, it seems that, well, you're some of the more dangerous yet friendly people we've met, and if we could be of use and trade that for a place to stay and possibly safety, we'd be happy to help. But if not, we'll try and mark our way back to the coast and maybe try and find our way back to his people.
Looking briefly, we are in no position to turn away anyone who has shown themselves to be stout in courage and kind in heart. Some of us, some of us have had this kindness taken from us, from this land. I've grown much colder since I've stayed here. You would be welcome, as would he.
I appreciate that, but I would warn you that most of my courage was born of desperation.
As you say, that is not what I saw, but however you wish to describe it. And then at that point, he the wine decanter lifts up and then moves towards Vormar of its own accord, and Albierix tries his best to soften his features, like, this is an offering.
Yeah, he seems to accept it, and he's very quiet during the whole meal. Definitely trying some of the different things that are on the table, and then keeping mostly to himself, and then just intently listening and kind of nodding with Mistletoe. I think also at that point, Teldrol the dwarf, who also you guys had rescued, he kind of like takes a big swig of his ale, and he's like, well, don't worry, Mistletoe. If they don't have room for you here, Port Bastion is a haven for adventurous souls. I'll be heading back, so if you need to head back to Port Bastion, you can go with me.
I appreciate that, but I do owe these fellows my life, and I feel like if I can repay that debt, I should. And if they want it, I'll do my best.
I'd like to jump in on this conversation to say that I would be heading back to Port Bastion and offer to Mistletoe and through him to Barrymore. If they need anything from Port Bastion, let me know, and we'll pick it up and bring it back.
I will do my best to translate that to Vormir.
And Rock's going to watch that interaction with Albirix and Vormir, and he's going to run back to the kitchen real quick and come back with a tankard and look down at that glass of wine that you put in front of the bear, shake his head, say, not fit for bear. Drop down a big tankard of mead in front of that bear and point at it and say, made from honey.
Yeah, definitely enjoys that quite a bit. And actually, maybe you even see something that's going to eventually for you guys be something that you can tell the bear smile, but the very first time you're seeing it definitely looks like he's about to tear your throat out. Thus, but only then realizing just after that it's not a show of aggression. It's the way that that they happen to smile, but it's just big, long, jagged teeth, and you get the full maul. And he definitely drinks it down and gives you a respectful nod, and maybe even a nudge to Mistletoe, like this is a good place, kind of nudge that you read into it. Teldrol mentions that he would be happy to accompany you, Igar, back to Bastion in the morning, if that's all right.
That would be just fine. At some point in time, I want to check with Albirix, since he's not going, whether he needs anything brought back from Bastion also. We can do that.
Okay. After that, though everybody feels safe and back at home, you feel your muscles, who are every bruise, and though you've had healing, it doesn't take away just the weariness in your bones, the overly stretched muscles and tendons, the overworked joints and bones that had to re-heal themselves, the aches and the sores. And though those of you that did take a bath, though that helped, it's obvious that by early evening. All of you are exhausted, and the trip and the travel has definitely taken its toll. And easily everybody drifts off to their accommodations to take their rest for the evening. We wake up to a bright, sunshiny day across the Abbey in the morning. Those of you that want to do things in the morning, you can. And then the hall and the petitioners are set up, and it sounds like they will be there at 9 a.m. to see the lords of the manor. For those of you that want to do anything before that, go ahead and mention. If you're going to do stuff, go ahead.
Albirix is going to meet up with the elves and wish them a good journey, and however many there are, I'm going to cast Goodberry, a number of times appropriate to make sure that they have everything. And she's really just coming down, refilling his drink like that. That's pretty amazing. But to offer that so that the first part of their travel was without any worries, and then pauses. I'm very interested in this tree that you speak of, where you live. Is it one of a kind, or is there a grove?
They kind of look at you, and then they defer to Rieger, who is there.
And I say it in Sylvan.
Yeah. Wayfarer Rieger is there, and he kind of he looks and nods, and he says, "It is a sacred tree. It is the tree that was the city has grown from. It is a place of worship, and it holds the soul of our people within it. We don't talk about it with outsiders, as we've been hunted across these lands. This is the final tree of our people, and if something were to happen to this tree, if Zephyrian were to burn it down, or Istendra were to turn it to ice and shatter it as she so wants to, or even if Sergolos finds a way to uproot it and tear it from its roots, that would be the end of our people and the end of those that have come before us." He says, "Knowing you and your companions and the peoples that live here, and knowing of their nobility, I'm sure eventually we would be willing to speak more on it. But it is definitely something held in our much regard, and you will find very few of the Wayfinders will speak of it to you."
I will ask no more of it then. I simply wish to know that if another were to grow from a seed.
It is the last of its kind. If it bears another seed, then we have the possibility of another city of the elves. But at this point, it has not borne a seed in more than 500 years. We feel like this may be the last of the cities of the Ulaway. And he kind of looks and he says, maybe someday you will travel there and you will see it, for you cannot miss it. It is the largest thing within our city.
It would be my great honor to do so. And with that, he says in the deepest of Sylvan in wording for them to have a safe and quick travels, and then turns wordlessly away just to let them know.
Yeah, in that group, he finishes talking. There's 4 other elves there, and they've set up like a litter that they've kind of are going to be using. And then Kiana is there, and there's a group, and then he sees them out, and he kind of heads out north with them a little ways, but then he comes back after not too far, and they are off. They immediately head towards the woods. They don't actually go the trade route road as much. They dive into the woods where they're more feel it natural, and they take themselves north and then they finally get into the plains of the Golden Plains and head out. Any other morning things? Is Eingar, are you leaving to Bastion before the petitioners, after the petitioners?
I'm assuming after the petitioners, since they want the 3 of us there.
Cool. Okay. So if there's nothing else, then at 9 o'clock kind of rolls around, and we see, I assume, Rock, Alberix, and Eingar in the hall. And Lady Megara opens the door, and we see the first set, seems to be a human, walk in, dressed as a typical villager. As he comes in, and he bows, taking his hat off. Definitely has the look of a worker, somebody who's works from sun up to sundown, has the calluses on his hands to show it, sun-tanned skin as somebody who's outside. And he seems very nervous and is kind of rolling the hat a little bit as he kind of stands. And you also notice he doesn't know if he's like, he half starts to kneel, but then he thinks better. He's like, I don't know, should I kneel? Should I not? He doesn't know. And he's like, I don't know how this all works, but I am here to ask if I may set up a farm close to this keep, which I know is a safe area now. If there are lands that we may cut out from the forest to the west, and I may set up a farm.
I think Tristan would be fine with that as long as there's a tithe coming back to the Abbey.
And there should be some limits to what size of farm. You can't just take a lot or as much land as you want.
He says, name the size and name your price. I have looked for lands north of Port Bastion, but with so many farmers coming in from the Sword Coast, all of that's been taken up, and each of the slots seem to be getting more and more expensive that me and my family can't afford them. My only hope was to come out further out and to either cut out a space on my own, but then I heard of the Abbey here, and I thought that if I could set up some land near it, that not only would I have security for my family, but then I would also have a ready place to bring in crops or even trade them back down to Port Bastion.
You may never hold slaves. Those who work your lands will be rewarded for their work.
Yeah, he kind of gives you a nod, and he's like, my family, it's me and my family who plan to work the lands.
Beyond Rock. He just shakes his head and said, take what you want. Keep sharpening his.
I'll lean over to Rock and Alberix and suggest that any tithe or amount, maybe we should check with check with our Chatelaine. She may have more of an insight on what amount that should be.
We will speak further about the units and measurements of this deal, but our home is your own. We will protect.
Yeah, he bows respectfully, and he says, I will send for my family immediately, and we will certainly get to work. I thank you, my lords. And he kind of bows out. And actually, the next 2 or 3 people are farmer families that wish to set up farms near the Abbey in hopes that it'll be a safer area further north. And a couple of them are asking if they could set up just to the north in the field, in the Golden Field area.
Alberix repeats the same thing. No slaves, blah, blah.
Okay.
How far south did the elves claim in the Golden Fields?
You don't know. On the map, I don't think anybody's ever.
Rager gone?
Yeah, he's not there at the moment. You could find out.
Definitely find out. You don't want to have him squatting on land.
Yeah, looking at the world map, Oh, I still haven't updated that for you guys. I really need to do that.
I mean, they may claim all of the golden field.
They only claim what's under their dome because it's the only thing they can protect from the dragons. And that would be up in the... It's basically up where near that river is, so the H14 line. It's right around there. So there's miles and miles and miles of plains. I mean, each one of those hexes is somewhere around 8 or 9 miles of area. You could have a bunch of farms even in just one hex.
So the city's in H14?
Yeah. Let me check my map to be sure. My map. Maps. I've got so many maps.
I think that seems like it's a long way.
Oh yeah, and we switched how we were doing the map too. We went to another. Actually, I could probably. Yeah, let me give you guys this as a handout too. So let me get rid of that a second. Let's do a new handout. City, I'll put it in all players. There you go. You should see Elven City. So you guys' map would have been updated with all of this to the north.
I do not see it. Wait, is it world map?
It's called Elven City. I'll put it down in the handouts.
I see it now.
There we go. It's down in handouts. Yeah, so they claimed 68.11 is what they claim. And the dome is what holds over the top of that. The monoliths are part of the stuff they use to create the dome. But as you can see, there's plenty of hexes there above. You guys are the great at 69.15.
Okay.
So they want to farm in 69.14?
Probably in 69.15. As you guys are the last of the mountains, there's a bunch of plains just to the north of you. It's probably at least 2 or 3 miles north is where the plains start. So there's 2 or 3 miles left in your hex, and then there's another 8 miles to the north, and even some to the left there, 68.15. But generally in your hex, 69 or yeah, 69.15. It would just be to the north of the Abbey.
Then there should be plenty of room for them to farm just north of the Abbey.
That's what they think. They assume it's your lands, though.
This is a right and good thing. Tend the lands and respect its womb so that it might bear fruit.
Keep in contact with our chatelaine, Lady Megara.
Yeah, because now you're giving you've got 4 people that want to set up farms, so we will Lady Megara will handle the actual mapping of that then, so that nobody's overlapping or whatever.
And Tristan would ask that she could deal with this when he's gone as well, maybe some kind of land office.
Sure. All right.
If we're going to be a boom town.
The next petitioner through the door. Oh, so we have Lady Megara kind of leads in a group of 3, kind of looks like adventurers, human adventurers. They have very similar gear to the types of stuff you guys have. So you have one who's clearly a cleric. You can see one who is definitely a fighter of some sort, big great sword, and there seems to be in leathers, carries a bow. Could definitely adventurer types, right? All human, all from and they kind of look at you guys, and the one in leathers seems very apologetic in look. The big greatsword one kind of is eyeing each of you up as if thinking about, I could probably take this one in a fight, or I could take that one in a fight, or big muscle bound kind of guy. The cleric seems to have a very neutral face on as she comes in, and Lady Megara escorts them in, and she says, these, and she uses the word with a little bit of disdain, gentlemen, are here to petition the return of one of their comrades. They stayed the evening here one night's past, and the comrade in question drank a little too much, and she says it knowing that she really means way too much, and became handsy with the staff. I immediately threw him in the cell and told them that his fate would await the Lord's return. And she seems quite mad about the incident. And then the one in leathers kind of bows to you and says, "We meant no offense." He gets out, gets in his cups, does some things. You know how they are. Drinks a little too much. We'll just be on our way.
Where do you come from?
We were adventuring up in the mountains to the east, looking for more shrines, looking for more ruins. We were on our way back to Port Bastion when we stopped here for the eve. Had planned to just rest and then leave, bringing our bringing ourselves back to Port Bastion. So it sounds like they were heading on their way back to Port Bastion. Our comrade, he just I should have kept a better eye on him. I didn't. I do apologize to you, and we will definitely not let it happen again.
Was the girl injured?
Lady Megara kind of glares at you, saying, "Well, there are more types of injuries than just physical." She looks to you, but no, she was not harmed. I put a stop to it before it went too far.
Has this man offered his own apologies?
I assume he's been sobering up in the cell. And she kind of says that as if she's not gone there to check on him.
How long ago was this?
2 days now they've been here. So they got here the night before. They were staying the night before you guys returned.
Maybe we should find out if he is apologetic. Let's bring him out
is
here.
going to look right at the fighter, like making eye contact with him, knowing that it's going to irritate him.
Yeah, he seems bored with the whole thing. Like it's his, it's like we're an adventuring party and he got himself in trouble. What do I care? He was stupid to get caught. Kind of look on his face. He doesn't say anything.
What of the girl? Looked at the chatelaine.
Yeah, Lady Megara looks at you with a questioning eyebrow. And what do you mean?
Should her opinion weigh in on this? I was not there.
She kind of says to you, maybe pretty haughty, like cold voice. I would assume my lords would not allow mistreatment of the staff.
No, but what I want to know is how harsh of a punishment she would dole out. For I know what I think. But I am not her.
Yeah, go ahead and give me an insight check.
Oh, I don't have any clue.
Yeah. So she says very harshly.
I would know if this man is apologetic or if he is just like this fighter here and thinks it's just one of those things. Depending on one of the two is how I would look at it.
I will offer this. This is the House of Torm. It is not for me to judge. It is for those who bear the sigil of the hand to judge. And until he comes back to make that judgment, I think he sits. This is not for me to decide, nor you. It is for Sir Tristan.
And you see the fighter like shrugs and he's like about to turn around, and the cleric kind of puts his hand on his forearm a second, and the one in leathers is like, fellas, and he's kind of talking to you like equals. He's not actually talking to you like you're lords above them. They recognize that you're adventurers from Bastion who's eaten and drank at the same tavern they drank at. And he's like, I apologize profusely. I will make sure that it does not happen again. If there is a reasonable punishment, then let it be carried out, but let us return to Bastion.
Does he say that we've eaten and drank at the same tavern you have? And
you know them. You've seen them in the tavern.
I'm just going to say it because we're not in a tavern.
Yeah.
We're in somebody's home.
Yeah, exactly. But he doesn't treat you guys like your lords. Like the farmers treated you guys like as if you were nobles of this land. They didn't know any other way to treat you because that's how you were presented. These people know you're adventurers, they're adventurers.
Rock says, let him go. The girl wasn't hurt. Just don't come back. This is no tavern.
Bring him forward.
Are you saying that to Lady Megara?
Oh, yeah. Alberic is like completely switched. Like he's just like, yeah, I'm going to pass some judgment here. I'm going to do this now. Because he doesn't agree with what Rock's saying at all. Yeah, even though I come from an egg, whatever.
All right, so we see Lady Megara kind of leave, and there's just a few minutes, and the gentleman that's brought back appears to have just been woken up. Definitely, I would say, I guess it has been a full day, so looks bedraggled. Definitely isn't sure. Like when you see him coming in the doorway with a couple of the house guards there bring him in and walk him in, and then he has kind of a little bit of fear in his eyes when he's walking in, but then he sees his companions and he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, and he kind of comes up and he looks bedraggled. He doesn't look like he slept well. Maybe still has the reek of alcohol upon him, hasn't really changed his clothes. He's been left in that cell the entire time. And comes in, and Lady Madara presents him, and he kind of walks up and stands next to his his companions, and he looks at them and then looks at you three.
Well,
Do you know what you did?
so I'm going to use psionics for detect thoughts as soon as he shows up. I put that in the bubble on the side.
Rock's just gonna say apologize.
All right, so I need to make a wisdom saving throw, or are you just looking for surface thoughts?
No, I'm getting in this dude's brain. I want to figure out if, is
So
this a good
what's
dude that
the
got a
DC?
little drunk? It is my DC, which is 16.
Yeah, he fails it. So, you could tell he's confused. He then sees his friends, and he's relieved that at least his friends are here, and they won't let things go too far. He sees you in the group, and in his mind, he's thinking, "Oh, I've seen these guys before. They've done some pretty heroic stuff." And he sees Lady Megara and kind of sees her and then looks away quickly as if he doesn't want to meet her eyes. It's obvious that she has definitely given him a mouthful before this at some point. And he's just kind of, you can tell he's trying to figure out what the heck's going on and why he's been brought in front of some adventurers.
You are in the House of Torm. I am not of the faith of Torm, but I stand in his stead with these two. Tell us, are you sorry for your actions?
Yes, I am sorry that I made a fool of myself, drank too much, and I should not have let it go that far.
Were I to turn you over to Lady Megara, she would have you cut.
Yeah, he
Kind
kind
of
of
lets that sink
turns.
in for a second.
He turns white a little. Like, yeah, he believes it. He believes he's like he in the thoughts that you're detecting is more afraid of her than any of you. She has made an impression on him.
Rock's just gonna look at you. What are we doing?
I don't detect any lies.
He does not. He's not
done with
trying to deceive you. You also, I mean, he got really drunk. It doesn't mean that he's not going to get really drunk and do stupid stuff again. But it doesn't seem like at this moment he's trying to be malicious, or he's not trying to hide some ulterior motive from you. He just, was drunk and did something very stupid. Probably does it whenever he gets drunk.
So with that, Albirix looks to Rock. We've all made mistakes.
Go away.
Go away.
And the guy
This
in
is
leathers.
not Storehaven.
Yeah. And the guy in leathers bows his head and says, "Again, we apologize. If we do see you in Port Bastion, let us be the first to buy you around. Other than that, we will take our leave, and we apologize for taking any more of your time."
Mistletoe's gonna stand up from the pews watching this and go out into the hallway and wait for these people to leave and intercept them.
Okay. So yeah, they begin to shuffle out, and coming out the door is the one that's clearly a cleric of some sort, though you don't recognize the symbol. Then it's the one in the leathers, the fighter, and then finally the bedraggled one. And behind them is Lady Madara talking to another person, saying, "Go ahead and gather his belongings and bring them to the front gate." And then you overhear that as you see them coming out the doorway.
I'm gonna pull all of my hair back and expose every demonic feature that I can, like highlight my unworldly nature, and increase the amount of kind of fire flickering in my hair. And I'm gonna walk up and grab this man by the collar and tell him, "If I ever see you here again, I will burn your cock down to the root and leave you to the birds." And then I'm gonna walk right back into the room and sit down.
Okay. All right. And that is our last petitioners for the day. All right. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take our 10-minute break. I have 9:58, so it'll be just about 10 o'clock our time. We'll come back at about 10:10. When we come back, we will do everybody's montage of their training for the next 2 weeks in how they are leveling from. You guys go from 6 to 7, or are you going from 7 to 8?
I'm going from 7 to 8. I think they're going from 5 to 6.
I'm going from 5 to 6.
Yeah, I think you're all
5 to
going from
6.
5 to 6. Okay, so we'll montage it out. Think of that on the break when we come back, and we will find out how each person has gained. We'll talk about it, what they get mechanically out of character, but then we'll also have them be able to describe how in character they were able to accomplish these new things that they did. So when we come back, we will tackle that, and then we will continue with the rest of the session. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
All good here?
All right, we're a minute back from break, but I think everybody's raring to go, so we'll go ahead and jump back in. Welcome back. So we pick up as Rock and Eingar are leaving from the what is kind of like the Great Hall at this point, and Alberic's there, also kind of trailing behind as they've just finished with all of the petitioners. So go ahead, Alberic's.
So Angir and Rock certainly notice, as they have a 16 and a 20 respectively on their insight rolls, that when this setting happened, although Alberic's had made mention of deferring to Tristan, none of his mannerisms were anything like that. Like, he was very unlike you had seen him before. And Eingar notices this more so than Rock. It wasn't that he's the lord of this castle. He is the lord of this land around it. Like, so it was just a sharp departure from how he is. You know, even in those hot moments when he had fought against Scar and everything, this was a little surprising to you. Mistletoe doesn't see any difference.
All right. With that, I think what we'll do is we're going to have the time condensed montage, and this is definitely going to take over probably about a 2-week period. This will be enough time to incorporate Eingar's trip to Bastion and back. He can put his order in. It'll probably be delivered at the very end of this, assuming you have the money to pay for it.
I have some stashed.
Yeah. So all of that can take in place, but we'll go, each player can decide over the next 2 weeks, what is it they've done to gain the things they had. We'll start with the out of character part. Go ahead. We'll start with Alberic so he can kind of tell us. So for this next level, just so the audience can kind of be in on the whole thing too, what is it that you've gotten moving to the next level of your druid?
So Alberic's is now a 6th-level Dream Shepherd druid. His connection has grown much closer with the land and with the animals in the phase. I now have the trait Mighty Summoner, which allows anything summoned by me now gets +2 hit points per hit die that they have, and also their attacks are treated as magical.
Sweet. So you got some hit points. You got that ability. Do you get any spell slots, new spells?
Yeah, I think I got another 3rd-level spell.
All right. You got another slot? All right. Then you can just pick any spell from your list. You don't ever have to. You're not like the wizard.
Nope, I am not. I'm very unwizard-like.
All right. So now, what have you done? Give us the narrated part of this for the last 2 weeks, whether it's taken 2 weeks or not. How has this change in Alberic's come about? What's happened over this time? Is it because you were spending time in the Grove? Did you go out and do other stuff? How did this all of a sudden happen?
He's going to go to his Grove, and while he's there, like from pretty much once he gets into the area around the Abbey and to the Grove, it's not like he's just Mr. Chatterbox, but he's going to try to really interact with the wildlife all around him and stuff. As he gets to the Grove, the birds that land there, he's going to, be casting, he's growing plants there that are attracting, the birds that like it and stuff. And then he's conversing with them, to learn more about what's happening around them and stuff, and the shaping and understanding of the land. He's doing so through summoning creatures and having them run through, and then he'll use his wild shape to turn into an animal to run with them through the areas around it to better know it. He really doesn't come back until the creatures in the area or the Grove itself, or however that works, tells him that his companions have returned to the Abbey.
All right, and what does the Grove look like at this point?
So the grove is to the southeast of where the Abbey is, and there's it's a heavily wooded area, and that has some rise and fall, some hills, and the grove itself, where he planted the seeds from the trees and fauna from Limbo. There's some sharp outcropping of rocks that create a gully, and there's a natural formed spring right there with a pool, and they grow mostly around the top part of that and underneath. Um, it's it's very much like everything around it, very heavily wooded with a canopy and stuff. But it's like always if you weren't, and then the ways into it, there are short scrub grasses with like some thorny bushes and stuff, but nothing that really draws your attention until the land were to react as so. And there's also a small alcove inside of that little where that outcropping is.
Okay, awesome. Eingar, go ahead and tell us out of character. So you're going to 6th level. What did your 6th level ranger require?
Going up to 6th level, he gained a favored enemy and a natural explorer improvement. So the favored enemy, he chose humanoid and picked Norker and Knoll, since that's what he's been fighting a lot lately. And apparently the Norkers are speaking some sort of giant, so I picked up that language. The natural explorer, since I've been running in forests a lot since getting here, that is favored terrain. That will be favored terrain for me. I didn't pick up any new spells, but I am able to swap them out when I go up a level. So I swapped out one that I hadn't been using and picked up a 2nd level healing spirit spell. Considering we have needed a lot of healing in the Black Pyramid.
You're gonna get us killed.
All right. So now, narratively, how does Eingar change over these couple of weeks that allow him to acquire these new skills?
So, Eingar and Rock and company head down to Bastion, and while they're there, he looks up his ranger teacher, and works with him on learning more about the forest, gaining more insight into Norkers and Knolls, kind of telling him what I noticed, and he fills in some blanks for me. We go out in the forest and kind of commune. And he imparts the knowledge to me of these different things. We're out there working with the trees, finding out different things like how to move in the trees silently, how to find my way without having to see the sky, different things like that.
Cool. All right. Yeah, and you put your order in for your armor. That should be delivered to you at the end of the 2 weeks. And that's good. All right, let's move over to Rock. What is Barbarian? Are you going 6th level Barbarian, or are you going level 1 something else?
Magic user?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's taking his 6th level in Barbarian, and he gets to choose a new totem at that point. I think I had mentioned I was going to choose Wolf, but he didn't really have any interactions with the wolves, and I'll wait later on that. So he's going to choose Elk when he gets back. And that gives everybody in the party doubled travel pace when we're going back and forth. So that should get all of us back and forth twice as fast. So it should be helpful on the travel end of this camp.
That's badass.
Big fan of elks.
Yeah, you just cut everything in half, pretty much.
Yeah. So I'm figuring that made no secret that he is enamored of Rilla, even though she is much, much older than he is. But amongst his people, the fact that she's an old orc means a ton to him. So he will take anything that she has to impart on him, and she just happens to have an elk totem as well. That's what I'm saying. So she teaches him how to commune with the land and work with his party to have them travel at that same speed.
Rule of the barbarian, huh?
Yep.
All right. I like it.
Ex-barbarian.
Yeah.
She's just a humble tavern keeper now.
Well,
Woo, that orc.
And on the handout, typically you guys would travel, a day's travel would be 2 hexes typically. So now when you're traveling with Rock, you pretty much have a 4 hex per day travel range. So cool.
Wow.
Dang.
And I assume that's like traveling. That's not like searching or
It's just travel pace.
stealthing or yeah. That's like we want to get from point A to point B, and we're doing it. Okay, cool.
Yep.
You probably got some hit points. Did you get any more damage or anything with your rage?
You got one more rage. That's it.
Oh, you did get a 3rd rage, so you can be madder more. That's important.
It's a 4th one, actually.
Because you could have used that in the pyramid for sure. 1 more rage.
Yep.
All right. Tristan's not here, but that brings us to Mistletoe, one of our newer characters. Gets to describe a little bit about the monk. Are you going to 6th level monk, or are you going to 1 level of something else?
Going to 6th level in monk.
6th level monk.
Picking up, I get 1 more, and Searing Arc Strike, which is the ability to turn key points into Burning Hand casting. So, little AoE action. In character wise, she's spending most of her time getting Vormir to like go out in the forest with her and spar, kind of in secret, because she feels like she's woefully unprepared for the level of violence that these people seem to take as everyday life. And she's always been able to do a little bit of fire breathing just as a demonic creature, and she's trying to find a way to take this key energy she's spent so many years learning how to cultivate and kind of blend the two, and eventually begins to learn how to make some gouts of flame using that same energy source.
Cool. And normally your searing strikes, what type of damage are they normally?
So her base attack is radiant. But
so it's a radiant attack, but then the burning hands is actually like the spell.
Yeah,
or is it radiant?
I can just turn key points into burning hands. I mean,
well, which
it's
do you
a
want?
little weird to me that it isn't. I would rather do it as radiant just to keep it thematically.
Yeah, let's do that.
But by the class, it's not.
Yeah, I think that's okay. I think we can make that little house change, and it keeps it in line with the character. Then, so we'll just say on yours it'll do radiant damage, which is cool.
Cool. I'll change it over.
All right. Cool. Got some hit points. Any more key points getting up to that level?
Just 1 more key point.
So got an additional key point.
A little bit more fine-tuned just due to all the sparring she's doing with Vormir.
Yeah, and I think you would find out with Vormir that you recognize a very powerful fighting style is actually quick. Like, just like you would imagine the grizzly bear is. It'll outrun you. It'll chase you down. You know, it's not something you just typically can outrun. He can move at 40 feet in a round. So he's big and fast. Though your strikes are more refined, and his are more not so much a technique to it, but you know, they're definitely effective when you see the ability he's able to put the power behind the hits. And he definitely favors a 2-weapon style. Seems to be what he is most at home with fighting. And then wrestling would be the other thing that he enjoys. So cool. We will, when Tristan comes back, and it may be a week or two. We'll do a flashback to his training montage, so we can find out what our paladin picks up at 6th level. So, all right, 2 weeks will have gone by now. At this point, you guys can decide how much downtime do you want to go before you do whatever you're going to do next. Downtime allows you to start modifications to the keep. Downtime allows you to make money or learn skills or start enterprises or get plans that you have started or further along than they were. What's the group thinking?
Abirix was pretty much, as soon as Rock shows back up, he's kind of like, it's on, right? We're gonna go kill those people. That just seems like it's such a threat that's overwhelming at the moment that they can actually do something about.
The only downside thing Rock would like to try to start doing is working with Rulla to get another tavern going up at the Abbey, so that there is a drinking establishment of some sort there that travelers and adventurers can swing through.
Okay.
Talking about a franchise.
I am. Since he had such a miserable experience here in town, he's going to try to get his own going out.
Do you have money to start construction?
I Rock have money just under temple now.
Rock carried all his money with him. All right.
No, he's got some in the bank there, but not enough to just build a building there.
All right, so the thing that we could do without money is there could be some time where Rulla helps you set up plans. Maybe draws out what it might look like, what you need inside, starts giving you lists of this is what it takes to run it daily, and has to try to teach you math. How good are you at math?
Rock no idiot, but he doesn't promote that.
Okay. So yeah, she's starts, going over what the figures would be, and what to expect, how far in advance you need to keep supplies, and who's going to brew the beer. Are you going to brew your own beer? Are you going to have it shipped in? All that kind of consideration. So that stuff can start to happen then.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any plans?
I don't know what really goes into fortifying the land around the grove, but that's what I was doing as I was going through my training.
That would then be, I would think for you to find out what to do next, you would need to do there would need to be some time for some research, to try to get an understanding of how you're going to make the grove stronger and because you don't know. Nobody's told you how to do this, and you don't have anybody to go and ask about it at this point. So there definitely at some point needs to be some time where you do some research on that to know what your next step would be.
All right.
While we're in Bastion, could we hit up Fluke and see if he's got any suggestions?
Fluke. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. The
Belshazzar? Yeah, Belshazzar would know.
Clearly had something to do with that totem that's guarding Bastion. We need one north of us. In fact,
yeah, he kind of knew about it.
We need several of them going from us to the Elven City, right?
The problem is that's a divine totem, not an arcane totem. So he speaks a lot of large arcane words and lingo to you. And you get the gist of it is that most of what that stuff is divinity and not stuff that he is. He can replicate with arcane energies. He could definitely... he can be a resource for research for people that are going to do downtime. When we do downtime, you typically want to do it in 1 month spans. So if we're going to do downtime stuff, then it's going to be a month.
Oh, but I don't want to wait a month before we go back.
I mean, Norkers could hatch between now and then.
Everything comes out of an egg.
I mean, in my mind.
Okay, so no downtime. Then we'll just do the 2-week training montage, and that's it.
Unless Rula wants to let me take that axe out first.
Is that a euphemism?
Yeah, it's an orcish. No mining trip for Eingar?
While I was in Bastion, I probably would have talked to the Dankles about watching for either some family coming in or letters from them. But I don't expect them for a while yet.
All right. Oh, so you have family that are going to come from your
I
clan.
had sent a letter to the family about, hey, there are opportunities here, but it would have taken several months to get there, and then for them to get people around, and then several months to get back.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and you guys, you do know currently Port Bastion has set up, obviously for a fee, ways to communicate with the Sword Coast through sending stones now. So communication can be quick, though the travel there and back is still pretty long. But you can get messages back and forth a lot quicker than normal. Just so all of you know, as if that factors into your plans eventually. Okay, so you guys are gearing up and prepping, getting ready to do your things, and we'll say, it's at the end of the 2 weeks at that point. And about midday, you have one of Rieger's wayfinders comes in, and it looks like you kind of get summoned to the gate area. And as you get out on the road, you're looking out, and you can see one of the wayfinders has ran ahead and mentioned that we have a caravan that's coming in, but something's happened. And only one of the wagons has made it through. And as you guys are kind of standing out on the roadway there, you can see there's a couple of wayfinders escorting a wagon that has a bunch of humans on it, obviously Port Bastion merchants on the wagon. And as it pulls up, the wayfinders help the humans out, and they start to bring them into the keep. And the main driver seems to be in charge of the animals in the wagon, kind of mentions to Rieger, who's there standing next to you guys also, and he speaks with Rieger because he's only really seen the elves as he's been escorted back, and he's like, we lost 2 wagons back there. We got everybody out, but something hit us, and it hit us hard at night, broke the wheels. There was screaming. We just raced out of there as quickly as we could. I don't know what's out there, but we've got 2 wagons left back out on the road there. Anything you can do to help us get them? And he's kind of helping other people into the keep area where you could just see a lot of bedraggled kind of merchants with some torn clothes, and they look like they obviously in a rush had to leave wherever they were. And the wagon is like one of these covered kind of caravan wagons.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Rieger kind of looks over at you guys, and he's like, I mean, I can send the wayfinders back out. I can check it myself. You are here.
There is no need for such a thing.
And we can get there faster.
And we need to put our stamp on the defense of this place.
Okay. He bows his head and he says, I'll be sure that they are taken care of, refreshed, all their wounds attended to, and then I will send my wayfarers after once I have one of the patrols return. And he mentions that Dorn isn't back yet, but he's due, later today. So do you want me to send him ahead or?
No.
Okay.
If only to find out what is left to pick up the pieces.
He nods and he says, it will be done. And then he kind of goes on and he kind of starts taking care of the people that are there. And you see Lady Megara bringing people in. It's like, they've got this down pat at this point, helping people out, making arrangements. They're moving the wagons into certain parts of the inner keep area. You probably, as you're leaving, are starting to notice that it's going to be a good idea to expand the facilities of this place, because already you can tell, place to stay. It really needs, there's this need.
Locked up through all that.
Yeah. Oh, did I? Tell me when I'm back.
You're back now.
I'm back now. All right. What was the last part you heard?
What she was about to say.
Oh, so yeah, you see Lady Megara helping everybody, and you can tell that she's already become really good at this type of situation. And as you guys are leaving, you just realize that already this place kind of needs to be expanded to make it easier to accommodate merchant trains, people that are traveling. Already you've got farmers and people coming, and it's already starting to get kind of crowded, and it's starting to really start to kind of boom into the number of people that are actually here as you guys take off to the north.
I'm going to hand her a Crayola drawing of a plot of land I'd like out by the road. Make sure that she doesn't build anything on that plot of land.
Yeah, okay. All right, we can say you did that over your 2 weeks. So you guys kind of race your way northward, and it's right at dusk. The sun has just gone down. Tell me your marching order.
Rock has to be out front, pulling the group behind him.
I'll run drag with Vormir.
Okay.
Since I think he and I are probably the two fastest on feet, in case we have to catch up.
Can I assume that Tristan is still ill?
Yeah, we can say Tristan was off doing something at the moment when you guys took off to the north. We'll just say he wasn't there at the moment.
And if I can keep Eingar close by.
Actually, he's probably with Captain Dorn. He went and did maneuvers with Captain Dorn.
So Rock, Eingar, Albirix, Mistletoe, Former.
Okay. So Rock, you probably see it first. Your night vision kicks in. It's dim light, but you see the shapes of what seem to be a wagon kind of dipped in as if one wheel is off, and then there seems to be another wagon shape behind it. Basically about 70-ish feet ahead of you. You're just seeing it as a shadow on the road, left on the road.
I'll slow us down and let everyone know that it's up in front, and then maybe approach a little more stealth.
Okay.
At normal speed.
Dim light, you say?
Yeah, sun has just gone down.
Well, I chose the only one of two races that don't have darkness.
Eingar is going to have his crossbow out.
I'm going to squint.
Rock will move ahead a little bit and stealth and begin.
Okay. Let me do this. Let's see. Let's get.
You didn't even do that with advantage, Rock.
I know. I got to figure out how to make that roll happen with advantage.
Do that. All right.
Global modifiers.
Yeah, there's a toggle where you can add to your spread.
All right. So I put you guys on the map. So you're basically just coming up, and then just a little ways to the north of you, you can see 2 wagons. All of you should be fully healed and have all your hit points and stuff.
They're not burning though, right?
No, they are not. They do not seem to be on fire.
Okay. Like I said, I'll creep forward stealthily
Okay.
and offline from where these guys are going to be.
Sure. Go ahead and creep forward. So yeah, you see a covered wagon at the front, and then there's one that seems more of like a flatbed wagon behind it. You don't see any sign of animals that would pull it, and it does appear that the front left side wheel has been torn off of the wagon. So you can see the axle is kind of sitting in the ground, the wheels torn off to the side.
Is there anything inside the covered wagon?
Yeah, you see a bunch of packages that look like merchant style stuff.
I would like to start moving off to the left a little bit, doing trying to track what creatures were around here.
Okay.
I'm just going to step in front of Albiorix and be an arrow shield.
Peering over the edge of his shield in the dim light, about how far can I see? Like 20, 30 feet?
Probably not even that. Maybe 15.
When that happens, when he realizes how dark this canopy has made it, a torch will rise out of the backpack, and as the telekinesis starts to drop just a second, it'll light with druidcraft and then bob back up into the air, and it'll be over here.
I'll get behind the wagon in the shadow created by that light.
Let's see.
I'm going to get on the other side of this rock in the darkness.
Okay.
I'll pull my sword and shield too.
Weapons out. All right, so Rock and Eingar are moving a little ways forward. Yeah, go ahead and give me perception checks as you guys kind of move up forward.
Everyone or just them?
Just them, up near the wagons. All right. I think Eingar, you would pick up kind of a smell of rot, maybe. On the wind slightly, and you can tell as you're looking at the wagons, you're seeing the tracks of the animals, and you kind of find where it looks like they were probably torn off of the wagons, and then you can find big areas of blood on the ground where they probably met their demise, but there really doesn't seem to be anything else here to recognize that they were here.
All right. I'm gonna move more towards Rock and let him know I'm not seeing anything around here. I can't even see tracks. Is that correct?
You're seeing tracks, but you're seeing tracks of a lot of stuff, So you're seeing like boot marks, which you are guessing are probably the merchants. It almost seems like maybe they were all around this area. So, like in a big kind of circle, you can tell where animals had died, like were dragged to like maybe just 10 or 15 feet. And then there's so much blood on the ground that something obviously happened to them. But there's no like scraps of them, or there's no animal carcasses or anything like that here. You just know that there's a big spot where they would have been. You find a couple of them for the different animals that must have been tied up to these wagons, and you can tell that the harnesses seem to have been torn off. They weren't just taken off; they were ripped apart from the leather and metal chains and things that were onto the wagon parts.
I'll kind of whisper over to Rock. Something just tore these animals off of here and ripped them.
And where are the bodies?
They're gone.
But not dragged.
It doesn't appear so.
So
I'll show him where the blood splashes are.
Drag
we
them.
don't see any drag
Yeah,
marks.
and that like all around it, it looks like there's just so much disturbance. You can't really. I mean, something happened here, but you're not seeing anything specific.
These were not pulled by. We don't have horses on Revonar at this point, correct?
They have just recently been brought to Revonar, but these most likely would have been more of like an oxen or something.
All right. So nobody just takes an oxen away without dragging it, unless they flew it away. It's just a dragon attack.
I'm going to range out a little bit farther and see if I can find some tracks.
I'll stay parallel with you.
Okay. See if I can find some tracks leaving the area.
The thing that kind of catches you more than finding tracks is the smell of rot starts to grow more pronounced.
From any particular direction? Is the wind coming from a certain direction?
You think it's coming westwardly, yeah, from the west-ish.
I'll come back over to Rock and kind of point that, hey, there's something smelling coming from the west. That may be where we want to go.
Okay, I'll move up and around that wagon, just check it, and then head west. And then, can they see me down the road?
No, they would not be able to see you.
Let's go back and let the other guys know what's going on.
I think just as you're moving, even as you make one step south, like you're going to start heading back that way, you hear a crashing through. There's bushes and trees and other stuff out here from the west as something big begins to move in both of your directions. So I think, Ingar, you were more like here or maybe here.
Yep.
And so crashing through the brushes and pushing its way through, what we'll do is I will say Ingar is not surprised, so I'm going to let him act on the same turn that this is happening. Rock, you rolled a 6, so I think it's going to happen, and then we'll go to the next round, and then we'll let everybody react at that point. But let me go ahead and bring up the turn order. You guys can go ahead and select your tokens and go ahead and roll your initiatives.
Does my stealth hold?
Sure, but you were kind of talking with Ingar, and you were... So you think it's still... I mean, you feel like you're still hiding.
Okay.
Just want to point out that Albirix is awfully patient.
All right, and
Man, Mistletoe is like the anti-Olo. She's insane on initiative every time.
What is that? A zombie troll?
almost looks like a really fucked up hag to me. I can't really see it though.
It's something maybe you guys have not encountered.
Pretty sure there's like 4 more.
All right,
that's
so
an awesome fig.
It's 60 yards away. So in the turn that's happening, Eingar, you're recognizing it. It's making a 60-foot move. You can do a normal turn right now.
Okay.
And its 60-foot move is going to end it up here. So you know it's coming this way. That's where it's going to end up, even though it's a little bit further off the map. But you can do your normal turn right now.
All right. I am going to, if I know it's going to be moving quick, I'm going to put my. I am going to put my crossbow away. Because it's just rock and ice. So I'm going to put my crossbow away and pull out my 2 hand weapons, my short sword and battle axe.
Okay.
And I'm going to yell down here, Alberix, get up here.
Okay. So both weapons are out?
Yep. And I'll move a little closer to rock.
Okay. So it just is doing a dash, so it doesn't get an attack at this point, but it's running up to you. And I'm going to put him here. Put it here. It is this big kind of greenish skin, lots of pustules on it, and the smell just gets worse and worse and worse the closer and closer it gets. It's just the foulest of smelling creature. And really what jumps to your mind is troll, just because of the foul smell of it. But it's not like one you've seen before. As it comes in there. Now, everybody else at this point, so basically what's happened is the first round has gone by. Eingar was able to act during the surprise round. It comes crashing through the things in its ambush on its surprise round. But I need everybody to go ahead and give me a perception check now as we start this new round.
You said everybody, right?
Everybody, yeah. And anybody that gets over a 15 will notice something else. Anybody under 15, you're focused on this thing crashing through the woods. All right, so Eingar and Mistletoe so far. Oh, I'll do Vormir. I'll just use his passive perception for this. He's just an NPC. He's got an 11. So he sees the one. What about Alberix?
Oh no, I'm like, what's going on?
Well, this will be a hearing perception check.
I rolled a 1.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
I'm very startled.
Okay. Eingar and Mistletoe, you recognize that you also hear over the one that's charging Eingar right now is making the most noise, but there's also noise coming from the east of the wagons too. Okay. So Mistletoe, you are up. What would you like to do?
Before she kind of takes off, she's going to slap Vormir on the side, say, "Son of Shroom, beware the east," and then take off at her alarmingly fast monk speeds.
Sweet.
Cut up behind one of the wagons, and I'm going to take 2 pot shots at whatever this large hulking monstrosity.
So on the left or the right?
The one on the right. I've got the wagon in between me and the one on the left. I can't see it.
Cool. All right. So
Ignore that third one. It's the 10 and the 17.
So one radiant sunbolt flashes off into the darkness, and it just is doing this loping move, and it shoots over its shoulder, and then the 17 slams into it.
5 radiant. Nothing. Just go home. And I will use my bonus action to attack it a third time. Does a 14?
You notice that it seems like it hits the toughened skin, but it doesn't seem to penetrate. It's almost like you got it off the edge.
Okay. And I'm going to yell out, "There's another one!" And that'll be it.
All right, Rock the Barbarian is up.
Seeing the size of that creature, Rock immediately discards his sword and shield, pulls his great axe, starts to run, jumps on top of the wagon, and does a flying leap over Eingar and hits that thing as he goes into a rage.
Sweet. Sounds like lots of cool stuff.
2 hits.
2 hits as the great axe sinks into it twice.
$26.
All right. Is your character moving?
Yeah.
All right. So as your axe digs into this creature once and twice, you can tell that the blood and the pus sprays out over you and Eingar, the gore of it. But you quickly start to feel a burning sensation.
A simple twist of fate, Logan.
You both take 11 points of poison damage.
Oh, I hate these things. I hate these things so much.
From the first axe. And then 11 for the second axe.
So 22 total?
Yeah, poison.
Oh, jeez.
All right. Anything else for Rock?
That's it.
All right. Eingar, you were up.
I mark you. I'll use my bonus action to do a hunter's mark on him.
All right, hunter's mark.
And then I am going to move over here around him and swing away.
All right, go ahead.
Use the short sword.
So your sword starts to hit, and then it doesn't land true, and you almost flat blade him.
Okay. And we'll swing again. 17.
17 digs in.
For 10 points.
Do you get Colossus Slayer on that?
Yeah. It's on it. I just rolled low.
All right. And as you puncture into him, both you and Rock take 9 poison damage. As more of this blood splatters out, and basically you can just see it just condense in this like 5-foot cloud around it, and it just sprays into you and him again. Anything else for Eingar?
Not a psychic poison, correct?
Nope, it is not psychic.
That's all I can do.
All right. Vormar sees Mistletoe run off, is going to follow and back up Mistletoe. So let's see, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40.
The one time I hit him, did I see any spray come out of his body?
You perception check. It was
7
too dark.
Probably not.
Yeah, it wasn't anything you noticed. Vormir sees it. It sees that it's looking at Mistletoe too and moves to intercept. And he's going to go to here. He's going to use a dash to get there to intercept that creature. All right. So troll turn. Northern troll. Let's see. Is going to try to I think definitely the orc, because the orc came in with 2 major battle axe hits on him and jumped off a wagon to do it. He's definitely the clear target. So he's going to try to bite. Does a 20 hit?
Hit.
Okay, so 5 piercing, and then the teeth sink in, and you can feel that the teeth themselves are poisoned. You have the poison condition until the start of its next turn. Let's bring up poison condition so everybody knows what that is. Or condition. Oh, yeah, dang it. And I'll read it to the audience here. So, let's see. Blinded. Nope. Poisoned. Okay, so poison has disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks. So you have a disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks till the start of its turn. So the next time it comes around. From the bite. It's going to try to claw.
Miss.
Missing with a 9. And it's going to try to claw.
Hit.
Ooh, 25 hit for 8 slashing, 5 poison. Some of that being halved because you're raged. Oh, actually, does poison get halved?
Yes.
Oh, nice. So most of this is getting halved for the barbarian, which is good. And let me just make sure the claws attacks do not do the same thing as the bite. Okay, that is it. The other troll, seeing Vormar there, is going to attempt to hit Vormar. So, bite. Hits Vormar for 10. Oh, and Vormar was in a raging state also. So, you can see his muscles are rippling and he's gone into more of a ferocious state. And then a claw. Miss. 22 hits. So for 13, halved is only going to be 6. All right. He is done. Albrix is up. Battle has commenced. You see shadows. You hear shouts. You hear the sound of battle. Your turn.
All right. I am going to move. I can just see the outlines of what's going on. Oh,
Where do you want the light at?
yeah, that'd be fine.
So from that, you're figuring 20 feet out, measurement wise.
Yeah. So then he's still in dim light for me.
Yeah, and then 40 feet would be dim.
Okay. So I can see this one pretty well. This one is shadowy.
They're both right at the edge of what you can see. So there's shadows at the edge of your vision.
All right. I am seeing all this carnage happen all around me. Do I sense the presence of to use my giant insect from my staff of it swarming in?
Yeah, there are insects around.
If there's any spiders, I want them.
All right, so let's see. So 3 spiders?
Yeah.
And they turn into one single giant spider?
No, there are 3 giant spiders is what it basically does.
Oh yeah, I see. A spider becomes a giant spider. Got it. All right. So
wherever you place them, because I don't know where these spiders might have been.
I'll randomize it out. So let me grab. Let me grab their character sheet a second. Do I have one already made? I might.
As he does this, the staff that he has starts to have a yellowy, greenish, sickly light that courses up to the top of it as the knots in the wood start to creep and crawl. And as it goes up, it suddenly goes down into the grass, and like a shimmer goes across the grass. And then these spiders just grow up out of it, wherever they may be.
Let me do this. All right. Yep. I'm just getting it set up. Perfect. Save character sheet, NPC. Giant speeder. All right, so there should be a character sheet that you can see now. And you get 3 of them. So give me 3 separate 1d12 rolls. And okay, so and then give me 3 separate 1d10s. So basically the first roll was what position on the clock were they, and then the second set of rolls is how far were they from you. So the first one's at the 9 o'clock position, and it's about 10. So 9 o'clock would be about here-ish. The next one would be at the 7 o'clock. Control C, Control V. So that's about there. And the last one, oh, so they were all kind of in the same area. So I'll just put it there. So they all seem to show up right kind of in that area. Go ahead and give them an initiative. So I think you can select each of the tokens once and then click the giant spider name, and it should put it in there.
Can you give me control of those
the tokens? Yeah. Controlled by... All right, so you should be able to fill out their bubbles and stuff.
Yep. So they will start with 8 extra hit points because of my mighty summoner. So I'll get.
Yeah, you can put all that in. So 18.
So a couple of them are going to act after me then, huh?
8, 5. Yeah.
All right. So that happens, and then with his bonus action, With the light still coursing on the staff, he is going to kind of shrug his shoulders and blink his eyes for a second, and another brighter blue light joins that yellow and green as he casts Psychic with my bonus action.
Cast what? You broke up.
Psychic Spear.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So that's just your shillelagh?
Yep, Shillelagh reskinned.
Yeah, got it. Okay. That brings us to Spider on the 8 position, so the one to the 9 o'clock.
This dude right here?
Yep.
All right. So with 30 movements, scrabbles for.
Yeah, you basically can tell them to attack something or defend you or whatever, and then they'll just go mindlessly do that.
Yeah, they're it's gonna move up to here, underneath this tree, and then it's gonna shoot its venom, or it's gonna shoot its web at this guy.
Okay.
$17 hit.
Yes, it does.
All right, so he needs to make a DC 20 strength check as a sphincter opens up in the giant spider and spuges forth a.
Rolls a 13. Was that
Yep.
to dodge out of the way, or was that just to break it? Target is restrained by the webbing as an action. The target can make a DC 12 check, bursting the webbing to 6. So right now he's restrained. When it's his turn, he can try to break free.
Okay. And then the other one just quickly gets up on top of the other wagon and is just sitting up there, and it is going to take the high.
Go ahead and give me a. I think that one's in the light, so I'm going to say a stealth roll, but at disadvantage on top of that.
Okay, I'll give you another one. 15.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
All right. Spider 1, Spider 2. Okay, we're back at the top of the round. Round number 3 is up. Mistletoe. You see Vormar has raced forward. Stuff's happening behind you. What do you do?
Very confident, not knowing what's going on behind me. I'm going to kind of walk forward as I'm throwing bolt after bolt over Vormar's shoulders towards this thing. Hitting once, I believe.
Yeah, the 14, it hits, but it doesn't seem to penetrate. And then the 17, you see it sear in.
6 radiant on that.
And then you notice that spurts out acidic, poisonous blood, and Vormir takes 10 poison damage.
I'm going to yell at Vormir to back off, and I'm going to prepare myself to start casting some flames. And that'll be it.
Okay. We'll see if he does that or not on his turn. Rock is up.
All right. In pain and confused, he's going to attack recklessly.
Okay, so you had disadvantage. Recklessly gives you advantage, so you're back to normal. I don't know if it's because of the webbing or the way the creature is struggling underneath the webbing, but you are not able to bite in and get any damage on it. Anything else for Rock? So that's an action. Okay. Spider that didn't go yet now gets to go.
All right, it's going to shoot off in this direction with a dash action. Or actually, it's going to. And then it's going to fire off its web at this guy. And it misses.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing the rolls. Is there a reason? Let's check. Oh, because yeah. Let's do this so everybody can see stuff. That'll make it better. Okay, so it missed, so we see some web fly out into the darkness. Anything else for Mr. Spider? That's probably it.
Nope.
Eingar, you were up.
Eingar's thinking to himself, every time we hit him, he gets sprayed. He's not gonna be able to last that very long. So he's gonna do a disengage.
Okay.
Move
Yeah,
back
you see
here.
it try to claw at you, but it can't get its hand out of the web, so it's not able to get a strike on you.
And I'm gonna switch to my crossbow, so I can cover Rock with that.
All right, so just dropping your other weapons then?
Nope, putting them back.
Okay, so disengage is your action.
Yeah, and then I should be able to put with that as my action. I should be able to put my weapons away. Correct, with dual wielder.
Okay, yeah, so you can put them away.
I
So
just
you've
can't
used
get the
your
crossbow out
action
yet.
and you put them away. You just won't have anything in your hands right now.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
How is I want to glance at Rock and see how he's doing. How's he look?
He's looking okay. Can you guys see my hit points, Par?
He's not wounded,
I cannot.
but
Okay.
he's coughing and choking from the poison.
Okay. I think that's all I can do.
All right, Vormar. So he
I can
hears
move one more.
Mistletoe, but he's enraged at this point. I'm going to give him a wisdom check. What's your DC, Mistletoe?
Great question.
For any of your spell stuff you do? Or maybe just roll persuasion. I'll give you advantage.
Okay.
And I'll have him roll his wisdom. Oh,
Flat
jeez.
10.
Beat a 17.
Is that with.
You get advantage. Roll one more time.
Even
Nah,
less.
he's into the fight at this point. So he's going to tear into it. So he's going to do Battle Axe, Warhammer, Bite. So Battle Axe sinks in, Warhammer sinks in. He's not able to get a bite on him. 9 slashing, 10 bludgeoning. So 19 total. And then spraying him in the face twice for the first one. Takes 6 poison. Second one, he takes 8 poison. He actually takes 3 and 4 for 7. He's starting to look green around the face. All the poison that's on him. He's looking a little worse for the wear. All right. That brings us to Troll. So Troll is going to break out of the one next to Rock is going to break out of the web. I mean, that seems reasonable. I already rolled that success, so and then does it say
That's their action to break out.
restrain target to make a bursting from the weapon on success? Okay. Then I'm gonna do. Let's see, what can I do here? Rock, you're near it, and as it tears through the web, you recognize that many of its wounds begin to stitch themselves back together. right. The other troll is going to maneuver 5, 10, 15. Yeah, he's going to attempt something different. Oh, but attack doesn't matter. So it's a 15-foot cube. So what he does is he reaches across his belly with his own claws, and he rips a big gash into his own belly, and the poison sprays out 15 feet towards Vormir and Mistletoe. So he gives himself 3 points of slashing damage, so that's for him. There it is. Oh, wait, what was his? Oh, yeah. All right, so we take 3 off for him, wounding himself. In a 15-foot cube, I need Vormir and Mistletoe to make a DC 16 saving throw, Constitution saving throw versus poison.
I was really hoping that was going to be dexterity.
So, con. All right, Vormir makes it, so he takes half the damage, which would only be 5 poison. He's raged, so he's going to take actually 2 poison and not be poisoned. But unfortunately, Mistletoe misses the save, takes 11 poison damage, and you are now have the poison condition for 1 minute.
And you get a save at the end of each turn?
At the end of each of his turns, yep. So let's put on we'll put on that symbol there. I'll let you keep track of it if you just want to keep marks for how many turns. So it makes the spray on Vormir by getting closer to you. And that brings us to Alberix.
All right. Alberix is going to move up and well, I sure wish animal friendship worked. I want to move up here and do a thorn as a psychic lash of energy goes out and strikes this.
Rock's not poisoned anymore. It was poisoned till the start of the Trolls round.
Okay.
From the bite.
So I think that misses, right?
That it does. As it's beginning to maneuver to get closer to Mistletoe and Vormir, you throw your spectral whip.
All right. And I'm going to climb up on top of this. That's my turn. Oh, with a bonus action, I would like to put out a spirit.
Well, if you're going to climb that wagon, I think that's going to need to take up something there. Like you're climbing into it or you're climbing on top of it?
On top of it.
Yeah, so I think that's going to... let's do an athletics check. And I think that would take up like your bonus action to get up there.
Would I realize that? Because
you could, if you don't want to go up there, then you can do something else.
So when I'm right here, I am going to use my bonus action to put out my spirit totem right here. And then I'm going to duck back over right underneath this torch so everybody knows where I'm at.
What's the aura range on that?
I'll show. I think that it's 30 feet. 30-foot radius. Yeah, and I'd like it right here. Yep, that's perfect.
All right.
That is my turn.
Which totem did you put out?
The unicorn totem.
Okay.
So as it appears, it's a rearing unicorn with sparkly rainbows about its tail and its horn as it looks majestic.
All right. That spider needs to move and try to bite that creature. And then the one on top, which one did you tell it to go attack? And then move it towards that one.
He's going to go straight to this one right here. And I'm going to roll to recharge. He does not recharge, but I'm going to attack now. $19 hits.
Yeah, 19 does hit. Takes the 6 piercing. And then Rock and that spider take 8 points of poison damage.
Oof. All right. This next spider that's on top, so that's that spider's move. This other spider that's on top is a stealth move of 15. I don't know if that makes it enough for advantage, but is going to fire off a web at this guy.
So you told it to attack that guy?
Yep.
Okay, go ahead.
That's a natural 20.
Yep, it's. So let's put a web action on him. There we go. And then, yeah, if it's going to attack, it's going to run over to him to attack. It's not tactical in any way.
Right. So it's moving up.
Okay. And then that's that guy. Cool. Brings us to the top of the round. Round number 4, Mistletoe. This creature is looming above you.
Yeah. So, with her bonus action, she's going to disengage and step back. So, no, with her action, not bonus action, my apologies. And with bonus action, she is going to reach into that part of her soul that she tries to deny is there and unleash a torrent of hellfire out of her mouth and eyes.
All right.
Which is just a reskin the burning hands that she gets from being a tiefling.
Yeah. So
I'm going to
12
angle
fire.
the cone to catch the tree and the majority of the troll, and not my good friend Vormir.
Yeah. Okay.
So
the flame roars out,
damage.
and you can see some of the pustules burst, and they spray poison towards Vormir.
Damn it! I was hoping that wouldn't happen.
So, 13.
These things are deadly as all get out.
Yeah, they're fucking nasty.
All right. Yeah, so you can see the sizzling, burning pustules on it. It's got blackened skin across it. It lets out a roar, and its eyes focus on you completely.
And seeing it focus on me, I am going to try and clamber up on top of this cart.
So
with
go
my
ahead and
movement
do
action.
Yeah, athletics.
Could I use acrobatics? to try and
Yeah.
leap
Yep.
it?
Acrobatics or athletics would be fine. Won't be too high of a 10 is enough as long as you got a 10 or higher. Okay. You can climb up. Consider it difficult terrain though, so each square of the thing is using 10 feet instead of 5 feet. So
Okay.
make sure you have enough.
Yeah, I've got 45 feet of movement.
Okay. Anything else
then I'm
for
gonna try
mistletoe?
Just gonna try and save against that poison. And fail.
All right, still poisoned. Rock, you are up.
All right, Rock's going to wipe the poison out of his eyes and notices that the troll has been bound somewhat by the webbing, so he will not attack recklessly, but at this point he gets advantage because the troll is restrained, correct?
Let's check. Um,
Yeah.
Attack rolls have advantage, and the creature's attack rolls have disadvantage.
All right, so he attacks with his great weapon, Master.
Oh, Lord.
Let me roll one more for that first. So a 16 and a 23 crit.
Yeah, 2 hits.
Where's that -1 coming from? 29 from that first. And then the critical.
Jesus.
Holy shit.
Wow.
That's some barbarian deeps right there.
Yeah, what is the -1?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that before. I'll figure
Was
it
your
out.
axe shift or something like that from Nat 1?
It was. Thank you.
How'd you get a 0 in rage? 2 + 0, or do you only get it once?
That's for the critical portion of it.
Ah.
So I think that's a 39.
Jesus criminy. Hey, Rock, I sent you a message too.
Okay, yeah, he goes down.
What was that? What? 66 points of damage in one hit in one.
We rolled max damage.
Yeah, that helps, especially with Great Weapon Master. Jesus.
All right.
I've got 30 feet of movement.
Oh, you do take 8 poison damage from the first swing and 5 from the second. The spiders also take 8 and 5. So
Yep, I'm adjusting them now.
13.
That's a crummy thing.
Yeah. Well, I could give it great weapon mastery if you switch.
And he will run 30 feet. And use his attack there from the. This
Is that part of the tree on fire?
Rock's hair's on fire.
Like a boss.
That tree was up higher.
He is not bound, correct? So
nope.
He will just attack. Well, he'll keep attacking. That not.
Yeah, you can't choose.
But at normal.
Miss. All right, Mr. Spider.
All right, this spider.
He just has to go up and attack.
I am going to try to recharge this thing. It does not, so he's going to go up and attack. It's nice to have a giant spider on my side for once. It misses.
All right. Eingar, you're up.
All right.
Please tell me you randomly have acid splash as a cantrip.
I'm gonna get get my crossbow out. Does that take up my turn or take up my action?
No, that's you get one free interaction. So pulling a weapon is a free interaction.
Pull it out, and I am close enough that I can shoot at this guy.
Yeah, easy.
And he's been injured. And I'm going to use my bonus action to transfer Hunter's Mark to him.
Okay.
And then take a shot. Wrong one.
Nice.
Crit. $10, $20, $28.
Nice.
And then shot number 2.
Vormir, Rock, and the spider take 14 poison damage.
14. That misses.
14 misses.
Okay. That's my turn.
All right. Vormir, nearly dead, is going to disengage 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, heading back towards, I think he's going to go there. He's not on the wagon. He's right at the wagon near Mistletoe. He's in pretty bad shape. One more hit and he's probably going down. That is his action. Troll. I think he's just going to go ahead and use his attacks to fight these spiders here. Why not? He'll be at disadvantage.
Get back up.
Yeah, he's just going to do it right from there. He's
Regeneration.
alive again. Where'd it go? All right, so he'll try to bite I guess the southern one first. I got to roll it twice, though. So a 9.
Nope.
Let me move this to disadvantage. That'll make it easier. Here's a claw. Miss. And a claw. 13.
It just catches the bottom part of its foreleg as it pulls it away from it.
So does the damage or not?
It does not. He's a 14 AC.
He's a 14. Okay. All right. That is its turn. As it's just struggling, Alberic's turn.
All right, Alberix is now seeing everything that's going on. Step out to see the state of things, and as he does, he sees the bear man just heaving and a bit not panicked, but obviously in trouble. I'm going to cast Cure Wounds on.
Okay.
All right, so he will get 9 plus 6. So he'll get 15 back. And then everybody inside of the radius will get 6 points of healing back, with the exception of the shitty trolls.
Haha, but they will get something back. Let's go ahead. Cool. Anything else for Alberix?
No, that's it.
All right. Both of those spiders get to attack. They do have advantage.
These guys right here.
Yeah, the two to the north. Uh, 15 does hit.
All right, so the 15 hits, 5 piercing. I doubt these things have poison. Will take any damage.
Mm-hmm. So he takes the 5.
And the first one gets his web back.
Yeah, they're attacking those. So that those 2 rolls because they had advantage as only one of the spiders. So then the second spider still needs to roll to hit. So, yep, would hit with the 16.
So another 7 points of damage.
I like how you take the higher number when you roll.
I'll take 4.
it actually dies. Yeah, it dies. So it's like it's dead again from the 2 spider bites that are tearing into it.
We're super familiar with the knockdown, stand up, knockdown, stand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So seeing it go down, these spiders don't know any better. They're going to skitter off after the one.
Well, yeah, if you command them to, yeah.
I'm just telling them to get rid of the trolls. So are they smart enough to see that?
Yeah, they would go after the next target then. I'm good with
Okay.
that. All right, mistletoe's up.
Is the spider web still wrapped around the one troll who's on the...
It appears to be.
Alright, then I'm going to leap off of the wagon and run up to it and use my tinderbox and the rest of my turn to try and light that web on fire.
I guess make a dexterity check.
Because I'm still poisoned.
It does not catch fire.
Fuck.
So that's movement action. You can do bonus.
I'm just going to try and throw off this poison.
Okay. Oh yeah, make your roll. So I think
It's a fail.
I don't think the save is a fail, right? It's just ability checks, right?
Oh, yeah, you're right. So that would have been on normal.
So 19. I think you are no longer poisoned.
Hooray!
You shake it off. All right, rocks up.
He is going to attack, not recklessly.
Yep, hit. 2 hits. Everybody within 5 feet takes 9 and 10 poison damage.
Holy crap, 19?
Dang.
25 altogether.
25 altogether.
Damn.
Nice.
That spider, like, as it splashes, it just, like, the caustic shit just cuts through its carapace and it's like,
All right, it looks like it's on its
Sorry.
last legs, but it does not go down.
Sorry, Dan, 24.
Okay. Spider makes a bite attack.
yeah, sure does.
Yep, 15 hits.
So 5 damage.
Crashes to the ground.
All right.
Everybody within 5 feet takes one final time. 11 poison damage.
Oh, with that, the spider just curls up and rolls over.
That one is dead.
Those suck.
Yes, they do.
Eingar's turn.
He is going to, seeing Vormar in dire straits. He can't get all the way over there, but he is going to.
Vormir's been healed pretty good.
Has he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, they're both down, but they're not burnt. Is that correct? The trolls?
One of them's wounds is healing. The other one does not appear to be healing.
Okay. This one's healing.
Nope, does not appear to be.
I caught
not
that one with a
Oh,
burning
you hit-
hands
okay.
earlier.
Then I am going to. I am going to come over here, and I believe I have a lantern on me. Thought I did. Apparently, I gave it to someone else. I'll get my tinderbox out and try and light him up.
Go ahead and do a dexterity check. Does not seem to catch fire.
Okay. Do I have any oil? Oh, I do have the bullseye lantern. There it is. I overlooked it. Pour any oil out of it onto the troll.
Okay, so as an action, you're gonna drop your crossbow, pull the lantern out of your pack, undo it so that you can drop oil onto it.
Yeah.
Okay, so oil splashes onto it. Anything else?
Can I use? Well, I've already tried to light it once, haven't I?
Yeah. Yeah. That we kind of rewound.
That's pretty much all I've got then. Isn't it?
Vormar heads to check with Mistletoe, but doesn't do anything. I guess the creature. So then the creature's turn is going to happen. It's going to get 10 points back.
These things are tough.
It's restrained still, so it's just going to lash out at disadvantage at one shot at each of you that are there. So this will be a bite towards Eingar at disadvantage. Yeah, I still have it set. So 14.
Nope.
A claw at Mistletoe. A 9.
Nope.
And a claw at Vormir at 10, so all misses. It's thrashing, it's trying to reach out and grab you guys that are within 5 feet, but it's not able to do it. And it is now Alberic's turn.
All right.
Actually, give me 1 second. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to put us on break because I got to go check something. Give me 5 minutes and we'll be right back.
Cat attack. series, but he wrote a historical one that deals with Fiore
right.
and a bunch of historical characters.
Oh, really?
All right. Alberix is up. Sorry for that brief interruption.
Cat fight?
So Albirix notices that the one is down over here. Do these things look like trolls? Would I know it's a troll?
At this point, you're thinking troll.
All right. So moving up around here, this moves up 30 feet, and I am going to touch it to the oil-soaked.
You kind of broke up, so I'm not sure what you're doing.
So Albirix comes around the wagon, sees that troll down, and then the torch, with but a thought, moves of its own volition through the air, and then dips down and tries to light the oil.
Yeah, so it was already a lit torch, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, it goes ahead and lights that oil on fire.
And with that, Albirix kind of like puts his back up against the wagon here and calls the spiders to him and looks over his shield for whatever's next.
All right, so it's still alive when you do that, so you can hear it
Oh, it's making a bunch of
roar.
noise.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, that was my turn.
All right, spiders that are still alive. All right, yep, they get advantage on their attack. So the first one misses. Yeah, first one misses. Second one.
Crit.
Crits. Easily does 10. It's burning, so it's not going to come back. So this is the final. Everybody within 5 feet takes the final 9 points of poisoning damage. As the pustules just erupt into a spray of poison. And then it grows quiet.
Immediately, the Albirix is going to send the spiders out to just look about for whatever might be here as we try to gather ourselves from the car.
Yeah, what you can tell is as you kind of inspect things, there's more light here near the wagons. You can see that the wheels were smashed in, as if these things, which seem to have a pretty good amount of strength, charged in and smashed the wheels, and then they must have tore the creatures off that were pulling them and probably ate them all. I mean, just every single piece of it, and then were laying in wait to see if more of these types of creatures came back. As you survey the area, it does not appear. I would think that Eingar, ranging out further, you find the tracks where they came from the west. Eventually going out far enough, you can see just their tracks. And it's just the two of them that you pick up. It doesn't seem like there's any more about.
I'll let everybody know that it's just these two that came in. So
Were there any survivors or people missing from this when they came into the? Did they all get away?
Yeah, you didn't ask.
Was there a den that we should find? Or do we just repair the wagon and go back?
I didn't follow the tracks far enough to see if there was a den or anything.
Do I know anything about troll?
You are thinking this is a troll. It's just not one that you've ran into before. You're not sure why it's able to do what it does or what makes it different.
Do trolls have dens? Do they drag treasure back to their? I mean, do I know anything?
No, you have no idea if they did that or not.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like they just want to eat these people. We should fix these wagons and go.
What if there were survivors?
How will we find them?
Look to Eingar.
I can try and track them back to where they came from.
Are your lives always this violent?
Yes.
I would like to check everybody out and see if anybody needs healed up some.
Somebody in chat said nerf Alberix. I think I should do that too.
And I'm gonna sit down real quick and clean off my axe if it's covered with poisonous.
Well, you could tell that it's a type of poison that during contact is when it gets into you, but it's not like a long-lasting poison or anything like that. And it wouldn't be too long for you guys to... you don't really have anything to repair the wagons with. Probably within a few hours, one of the scout parties come up upon you guys, and... you're able to send runners back and forth, and they bring out a party. You find out that Captain Dorn is back, so he sends up a unit of... actually, you guys would know this. They had a name, didn't they?
Captain Dorn, the 21st?
The 21st, yeah, the Fist. Yeah, so he sends a unit of the Fist up, which is like a squadron of it. One of the sergeants, and they bring up, they bring the blacksmith with them, and they're able to put 2 new wheels on both of the wagons, and they're able to pull them back down to the Abbey. And that all takes, everybody works through the night. There's guards out making sure nothing happens upon anybody. And you're all able to make it safely back with the 2 wagons. It doesn't look like any of the trade goods are gone. They're basically out a couple of wagon wheels at this point. And when you do get back, they do mention to you that nobody was missing. They were all able to pile in and run off into the other wagon while those things had smashed into the other 2 wagons and were tearing into the livestock. And they were able to escape in the 1 wagon and get it down the road, the 3rd wagon. So they are now... And that's where we'll end tonight's session. And we will be back next week, possibly with Tom, or if not, maybe a guest, or maybe another short adventure while we wait for Tom to return and get back on track. So hope everybody had fun. Looks like we had a couple of new names in chat, which was cool. And if you did miss it, definitely check out the VODs. I'll definitely post those this week or towards the end of this week. Other than that, hope you guys had fun fighting some... if you want to look them up, they are in Mordekainen's Tome of Foes called a Venom Troll. So a different style of troll, which I thought was cool. So hope everybody had a good time, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
Yep.